So thank you guys for joining for our free Ditch the Mouse session. A lot of you are have been in the Recalc community already. Some of you also are new. So I'm going to do just very quick overview of Recalc, and then we're going to jump right into our spreadsheets for the majority of the class time. Here at Recalc, we believe that building the hard skills is easier than you think. And we offer high impact live training to address what we believe are these very learnable and tangible skills. So particularly in today's environment, spreadsheet and analytical skills are crucial to our team success, to our own career success. But oftentimes we lack formal training. We've never really gotten any formal training either in spreadsheets or on financial topics. So we kind of muddle our way through. And that's where our courses come in. They're interactive live classes taught by experts. We have from beginner to advanced, both for spreadsheet courses and finance courses. And we also have in pilot SQL for Excel users and PowerPoint fundamentals. As you'll see for today's class, all of our classes, as I mentioned, are live and real time. So you'll be following along in your spreadsheet as I am teaching. So all of our classes are instructor led. They're meant to be fun and engaging. Katie and myself are the instructors. We each come from several years in industry, whether finance, investing, corporate strategy and development, P&L, business ownership. And we take all of that experience to curate a very focused curriculum for you in terms of exactly what you need to know in spreadsheets in finance to do your job well. So all of our courses include step-by-step instruction. So really you can understand the why behind everything that we're doing. And we also try and use real world examples. So again, you can make that translation back to your everyday work. All of our open enrollment courses include ongoing support. So this is in the form of one-on-one office hours where you access the instructor's calendar directly, and recordings. You will also get the recording and a guide from today's session. In terms of why we're focusing here on ditching the mouse, we believe it's important regardless of where you are on your spreadsheet learning journey. So here at Recalc, we offer spreadsheet fundamentals, part 1, 2, and then business analysis, take you from being a spreadsheet novice to a spreadsheet wizard. Regardless of where you are, ditching that mouse, using that keyboard more will allow you to be more efficient, allow you to be more effective, and ultimately more accurate in your spreadsheet analysis. So it will get you in and out of that spreadsheet quicker, which I'm sure is a lot of our goals when dealing with our spreadsheets. But really, it will just allow you to kind of navigate around easier. Will reduce that frustration and stress we might feel sometimes when navigating around that spreadsheet. So wherever you are in your journey, I think it will be applicable and really just takes practice and reiteration. This is the slide that I share during all of the spreadsheet classes that I teach. So some of it is more pertinent to an open enrollment course, but I wanted to share it just as a preview since this is very similar to the way we structure our regular classes. You can follow along in Excel or Sheets. Super important, especially for the ditch the mouse content, that you choose whatever version is most pertinent to your work. There are a lot of differences in shortcuts in particular when it comes to Excel and Sheets. So please just focus on either one works, whatever one you use most often. As I mentioned, all of our classes are live and interactive. We do recommend 2 monitors if you can. Most importantly, if you hear nothing else of what I've said in the past couple of minutes, there are no dumb questions. Please interrupt me. Please put questions in the chat. Really quickly, I did just want to touch base on F-key setup. It is super, we go through this at the beginning of all of our spreadsheet classes, but particularly important as we go to using the keyboard and not our mouse. F2 and F4 we're going to use a lot. So if you can turn on your F keys, it will save you time. It will save you not having to reach for that mouse as well. If you're on the PC, it most likely will be on the FN and then the escape key to illuminate the lock. There might also be an FN key down here, which you need to press if it's a newer version. If you're on the Mac, and this is only pertinent if you're not using an external keyboard. An external keyboard has the F keys separate. You don't need to worry about it. On the Mac, you need to go to System Preferences, Keyboard. On the older Mac, there's just a checkbox to use F1, F2, etc. keys as standard function keys. On the newer Mac, you'll just have to change what your touch bar shows, wherever that may be. And usually it shows app controls. while you're working in Excel or Sheets, change that to be your F1 and F2, etc. keys. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump in. So navigate for me. You should be on your summary tab when you open up that spreadsheet. If not, navigate to that summary tab. The summary tab just has all of your relevant shortcuts and different keys to know for whatever combination you are in. So navigate. And if you can, I'm using my arrow keys and we're going to go through navigation in a second, but I'm using my arrow keys to navigate to cell C2. So I have it on PC Excel on my Excel version, and then I will have it on PC Sheets on my Sheets version. And then we'll be going back and forth between Sheets and Excel. And if you want to do that without using your mouse, if you're on the PC Excel, you can do Alt down arrow and then use your arrow keys to pick whatever one. Well, it'd be PC Excel or Mac Excel, I guess, if you're in the Excel. It'd be Option down if you're in Mac. So Alt down if you're in PC, Option down if you're in Mac. If you're in Sheets, you can just hit Enter once you're on that cell, and that will get you into the dropdown. You can also hit space because it acts like you're typing in there. So you don't need to memorize anything from this page. It's just a good reference point for you. It might look like a lot of different shortcuts, so I will reiterate that. I would just pick, first of all, we're going to go through some of the master shortcuts. So you don't have to, there's absolutely do not have to memorize everything that's on this page. There's lots of kind of master ways of navigating. In addition, if you learn nothing else, focus on the navigation that we're going to go through in part 1. That is going to save you the most amount of time in terms of just navigating around the spreadsheet without using the mouse. And that actually doesn't have that many different shortcut keys to remember. It's more when you get to formatting specifics around that add some of that complexity. But with navigation, there's really a few that you need to know. And as long as you try and focus on, getting better at 1 or 2 of them at a time, you'll really be able to save yourself some time. All right. So with that, we have split up today's session into navigating part 1, navigation part 2, and then formatting. Navigating part 3 is for working across tabs. We likely won't get to it during the hour, but it's another option. And throughout class, we'll be navigating across tabs as well to get you some added practice there. So navigate, we're going to go to our nav part 1 tab. If we want to use no mouse the entire class today, navigate across tabs using what it says in your shortcut menu. So for PC Excel, it's Control page up, page down. For Mac Excel, it's Option left, right. So I'm hitting Option right in this case, 1 over to get to my nav part 1 tab. In PC Sheets, it's Alt up or down. In Mac Sheets, it's Option up or down. So I'm going to hit Control page down. It's going to get me to my nav part 1 tab. And this is navigating within the worksheet. Nav part 2 is navigating within a cell. So editing text, editing a formula. So navigating within a worksheet, probably the most important section for today's class, as I mentioned. So once we get in here, use your arrow keys for me and just navigate around that spreadsheet without using your mouse. Your arrow keys allow you to move cell to cell without using that mouse. Now, a lot of times, this might seem very tedious, especially if we're dealing with longer data sets and we need to jump around to different parts of our table. That is where our jumping keys come in. So if you're on the PC, your jumping key is going to be Control. If you're on the Mac, it's going to be Command. And so wherever you are, so I'm going to go down to rank here in I-21. I'm going to hit Control right or Command right. That is going to jump me across whatever text string I'm in. So if I jump again to the right, it's going to find that next text string. If I do it again, it's going to bring me all the way over to the end of that table. And if I do it one more time, it's going to bring me all the way to the right hand side of my spreadsheet because there's no other text. So I can just do Control or Command left. That's going to bring me back. So control in my arrow keys, and if I do it down, that's going to do the same thing. I can jump down across my different tables. So it's a little bit quicker than going cell by cell if I want to get quickly across. If I go too far, I can just hit Control or Command in the opposite direction. That's what really allows you to use your arrow keys and not your mouse, especially as you're dealing with longer ranges of data. The other important navigation key is our Shift key. So I'm going to navigate somewhere in my top grossing actors table over here. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be in my movies column. It doesn't really matter for this exercise. I just want to get us in the habit of selecting cells without our mouse. That would be your Shift key. So Shift and down here is going to select that movie column. Shift left is going to select the entire table. So I can combine Shift right, Shift down, Shift up. That's going to select different cells. If I'm at top here, I can combine all three. So I could hit Control or Command, depending if I'm in a PC or Excel, Shift and down. That's going to jump me to the bottom and select at the same time. So Control or Command and Shift are very helpful in your arrow keys, how you're going to navigate around that spreadsheet without the mouse. If that's all you want to take away from today's class to practice, that's kind of where I would probably focus. If I wanted to copy and paste this section, I would do Control or Command C to copy. And then I'm just going to right arrow twice over to column N, Control or Command V to paste. So that's Control or Command C to copy, Control or Command V to paste. And I've pasted the selection I made very quickly by using that Control, Command, and Shift key. All right, navigate for, we're going to practice those navigation keys, but with some basic formulas. So if you navigate to M22 for me, this is just a list of our top growing actors from 2019 to 2021. We have our average billing. We have the number of movies that they made. We want to know what their total billing was over that time period. So in column M22, we're just going to do equals. Left arrow twice to select K22. Shift 8 is going to be your asterisk times. Left arrow once to select L22. That is how we generally write formulas without our mouse. Hit enter. And I could go through obviously and keep doing that, but that would get very tedious and is not the best use of my time, I'm sure. So the quicker way to do that, we have several different options depending on our comfortability with navigating. So we could do wherever you have, I'm going to just delete those. Hopefully you have just the one formula in M22 here. We're going to do Control or Command C to copy. We're going to do Shift down. That's going to select cells one at a time. I can also just hold down. I don't have to keep just hitting it once at a time, but it's going to move one cell at a time. We only have 15 rows of data, not the biggest problem here. And then I could hit Control or Command V to paste. That's one option. Another option is just to be on M22, do Shift down, Control or Command D as in down. That will drag that formula down. My last option here, and this will be the most efficient. Particularly, we're going to move on to the top 2021 movie releases in a second. And we're going to navigate 50 rows of data. This is very important for being able to do that efficiently without the mouse. We're going to copy our total billing in M22 again. Control or Command C as in cat or as in copy. We're going to left arrow once into our movies tab. we're going to do Control or Command down arrow. That's going to allow us to jump to the bottom of our data set. So we're essentially using column L here as a free ride to get to the bottom. And then we're going to right arrow back into column M and hit Control Shift up. And then we can hit Control Command V to paste. I'm going to do that one more time. And I just want to show if I don't use column L basically as my free ride, if I just hit here, Control Shift down, it's going to find that next piece of text, which is all the way in my total followers by platform table. So it's going to find what, and maybe there wasn't any text in that column, it would jump all the way to the bottom of my table. So we really use whatever column in our existing data has data in it as a free ride down to the bottom, because we can't use our current column. So again, I would do left arrow, Control or Command down, right arrow, Control or Command Shift up, and then Control or Command V to paste. We're going to add our total number of movies down here and our total number of billing. There's a few different ways we can do that without using our mouse. If you are on the PC Excel version only, you can do Alt equals to automatically sum those values. Again, PC Excel only. You always need to check if you do that it is automatically selecting what you hoped it would be selecting. That is one option. Our other option is equals sum, open parentheses, up arrow to get into my data. So L36 here. And then I could do Shift up all the way until I get L22 to L36 selected. I could also do Control or Command Shift up. And if I do that, I'm going to jump up to the top of that text string because I'm using Control or Command, which is my jumping key. If I do that, I need to back off that top cell. In order to back off, I just had to take my finger off of Control or Command. So I'm just holding my Shift key down and hit down arrow. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to start in L36. I'm going to hit Control or Command Shift up. It's automatically going to select my header row. This is a very common issue. I'm going to take my finger off of Control or Command. So I'm just holding my select key and then hit my down arrow. That's called backing off that cell. And I can be very specific. Like if I wanted to keep backing off for some reason, I absolutely could. I can then hit my up arrow to reselect. As long as I have my Shift key held down, I can hit enter. There's a few ways we can carry that over into our total billing without using our mouse. We can use Control or Command C again, right arrow, Control or Command V to paste. We also could just be in M37 and hit Control or Command R as in right. That's going to drag that over into our total billings. It's going to drag whatever formula is to the left into the right-hand cell. All right. We're going to navigate over to top 2021 movie releases. We're going to do the same exact thing, but with a much larger set of data. So we have top 2021 movies, their gross dollars, their opening weekend dollars, and we want to understand how much of their total gross happened on the opening weekend. So what percent is their opening dollars of the total? So I'm again navigating using those arrow keys over to cell U22. And we're just going to do a simple equals left arrow into T22 divided by S22. and we will get a percentage. Now I can copy that if I sit here and do shift down. It's going to take me a minute. Not too long. We only have 50 rows of data, but it's not the best use of my time. Again, it's going to take me a little bit longer than I would like. This is 50 rows. You're working with hundreds or thousands of rows of data. You do not want to sit there, obviously, just doing shift down forever. You would, if that was the case, you definitely use your mouse. The faster way, again, is going to use our existing data to jump to the bottom to get a free ride. We're going to go copy it. So Control or Command C on U22, left arrow into column T, Control or Command down. That is getting me to the bottom of that text string. Right arrow, Control or Command, Shift up. And then I can just paste it, Control or Command V.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you turn off the suggested autofill for Mac? Or I mean, for the Google Sheets?
You can't turn it off. You can ignore it, it will go away, or you can use it and just check to make sure that it is doing what you need it to do. So if I'm in Sheet, do this. If I just hit Control Enter to autofill that, what I would want to do is just, obviously go to the bottom, make sure it went all the way to the bottom, check a random cell. And we'll go into a second how to do that. But as a preview, I'm going to hit F2, and that's going to showcase my formula there. And I would just want to make sure if I ever use autofill, that's kind of like using Alt equals in PC for that sum. I always want to test it. Did it actually do what I wanted it to do? Most of the times, Sheets is pretty good at their autofill. It's obviously not 100% foolproof though. So you definitely want to just, check one random cell and make sure it worked. Or if you ignore it, it will go away. It's a great question. Okay. There are a couple examples here for you to practice. This is top celebrities on social media by user engagement. So we have top celebrity. This was old data, by the way, so it's not going to be accurate in case you're wondering. It's obviously summarized too by the number of likes. So we have some top celebrities, the number of likes that they've gotten, and their number of followers in millions. And we need to decide likes, how many likes they tend to get per follower. So simple division again, and we'd copy that to the bottom and summarize. And same with total followers for platforms. So how many followers do they have and across what platform? We want to add those together and copy that down. I'm going to let you guys, if you want more practice, do that on your own. With all of our spreadsheets and class files, if you go to part 1 complete, so Control, page down, Option right if you're on Mac, Alt down if you're on Sheets, Option down if you're on Mac Sheets, to part 1 complete. This has all the answers that we just did. It also has the answers to the ones that we didn't get to. And that's just additional practice for you. And that's typically the case of all of our class files. We have additional practice files, but we also usually have additional tables within the files themselves that if you want to work through on your own time, you can get a little bit more practice. All right, so we're going to navigate now to our maze section. So this is to get a little bit more practice using our arrow keys, using our jumping keys to see how quickly can we get to the finish line of one of these mazes. So the yellow is the start, the green is the finish. You cannot use your mouse, and you must follow the blue arrows. So you could just sit here if I was doing maze 2 and use my arrow keys the whole time without using Control or Command. If I start jumping, it's going to be a lot faster. It even gives you options that you need to kind of back off, go back one. And you need to finish in the Finish tab. So there's 3 different options depending on which one is speaking to you, how kind of long you want to be, but we're going to throw a timer up here. So hold on one second. And we're going to time ourselves. And the purpose is that in your spare time, you're going to go back to these mazes and work on that timing. Try and see if you can get faster. And it's really just a great opportunity. I said in the beginning, before we got to that navigation tab, using controller commands, using your arrow keys is going to save you a ton of time, especially if you work with lots of data and you work with it, to analyze often. So jumping, selecting, arrow keys, very important. That's why we lead with navigation within the worksheet, and why we have these mazes, so that you can then, if that's the only thing you kind of take away, you can practice as well. All right, so we're going to start the maze exercises, and I'm just going to let it go for 45 seconds. If you get through one, you can do the next one. Just note down your time so you can, try and beat it the next time. Then I'm sure you're going to pick this up and do it. All right. Ready, set, go. All right, we are done. Hopefully everyone recorded your time. Was everyone able to get through one? Just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Anyone able to get through more than one? Cool. All right, awesome. Okay. Hopefully you wrote down your times. Okay, 2.5, awesome. Anyone get through all three? I haven't actually asked that. That would be awesome. Guys are all 3 and 39, nice. All right, great. You can continue to work on that, and that will just allow you to be even quicker. All 3 and 28, wow. Awesome, great. All right. Now we're going to navigate to our Nav Part 2 tab. Again, I'm just going to do Control, page down, Option right by my Mac Excel, Option down or Alt down in Sheets. All right, so that was navigating within a worksheet. Most important things: Control, Shift, arrow keys. We also went through how to copy and paste, how to drag left, drag down or drag right. Those are the main shortcuts there. So now we're navigating within a cell. So if we want to edit text and we want to edit formulas, how do we do that without, like, we're going to go into our inspect and edit section on the left-hand side to start. How do I do this without using my mouse to head up to that formula bar? So anytime we are in a cell, so do me a favor and navigate. All right. Navigate to B22 for me. We have some very simple text editing just to kind of go through the motions. So first we want to change navigate to navigation. So we're just changing text within a cell. Anytime we want to inspect and edit, whether it's text or a formula, that is going to be our F2 key. Other than Control, Shift, and down arrows, it is one of the most important keys. F2, so this is also why you should have your F keys turned on. And I already used F2 when we were going through the autofill as well. So F2, if you hit F2 on B22, you can see my cursor blinking. That means I am now inside that cell. That has kind of gotten me inside. I can use my backspace or delete button. I can also use my arrow keys. That's going to get me around that cell. We're going to go in a second to where we have two words. I can again use control in my arrow keys. If I do that here, it's going to jump me to the left of navigation, control or command in my arrow keys. If I do left or right, it's going to get me to the end or the beginning. If you're on the PC, you can also hit home or end. That's also going to get you to the beginning or the end of that text string. All right, so if you haven't already, just hit that backspace or delete key, and then we can just text in ION, type in ION, and hit enter. Very simple. We navigate to inspect and editing text to PC Excel, and you hit F2 again for me. Same thing, we're just doing it at the beginning of the text. So in order to get there, I can either hit left arrow, or I can hit control left, or command left. If you notice control or command left, jumps me to every word. So it's a little bit faster, especially if I have a longer string of text I need to edit for some reason. I can do control or command left. That's going to get me to the beginning of Excel. And then I could delete or backspace and type Mac. I could have also just hit home, deleted PC that way, and hit, if I had PC, and hit Mac. But you'll notice once you're in that cell, it's the same navigation. Control, command to jump. I can do shift if I need to select something with my arrow keys. And my base of navigating is going to be those arrow keys. Same general concept. All right, that is just editing text. Pretty straightforward. We're now going to move over to inspecting and editing formulas. So we're going to go to the top 2021 movie releases table in our opening dollars per theater. So this is another table of those top 2021 movies. We have our opening dollars, the amount, opening dollars in millions, the number of opening theaters where we had the show, and then we have a calculation that's supposed to be showing our opening dollars per theater. And I can see that it's selecting H23 to I23 there. So I know I need to fix something. If I hit F2, just like F2 gets me into navigating my text, it also gets me to navigate into my formula. So I can hit my left arrow key, I can hit my right arrow key, I can hit control, just going to get me across each cell. Control or command with my arrow keys. Same with home is going to get me all the way to the beginning. So just important, if you are on the PC and you hit home, it's going to get you to the left of that equals sign. You always will need to most likely hit right arrow once to make sure you're on the left of that equal sign if you want to be editing that formula. So again, same navigation here. You'll also notice when I hit F2, it is showcasing me what that formula is referencing with that color-coded shading. So H23 is blue, same with my formula. I23 is red, same with my formula. So I can see that, someone came in here and did opening dollars divided by theaters. The issue is opening dollars is in millions. Obviously, theaters is just in the number of theaters. So we need to multiply this answer times a million so that we can more effectively see just the dollars that we're getting at every theater. So to do that, I can just hit Shift 8 for that asterisk again, and then just type a million in. And then that will fix my problem. So again, I'm going in to inspect and edit that, and then I can just type in whatever is the issue. You can either copy this down, just shift down and paste. You can also practice for good measure using, actually here we do have the text already in there. So you could do shift down, you could do command or control shift down. And because we already have text in there, because there's already formulas, then you can just hit control or command V to paste. And that jumping key does work. All right, now we're going to navigate over to our total followers by platform. So again, we have similar data to what we saw on our part 1 complete tab, but we realized we were missing TikTok followers. Very important. So we need to be able to add in our TikTok followers and then redo our formula. So that's what we're going to practice doing now. So we're also going to get practice copying and pasting text and selecting it. So navigate over to S23 for me. Do Shift down or Control Shift down. That's going to select that entire range, or Command Shift down. And then do Control or Command C, left arrow into cell P23, Control or Command V to paste. I'm just pasting in those values. When I get down here to P31, I can do Control or Command R. Again, that's going to drag that formula over. That's in my Instagram total. I'm just summing up those values. Or I could hit Control C, right arrow, Control V to paste. You'll notice, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, how come when you did Command Shift in the TikTok column, it didn't take you all the way to the bottom of the spreadsheet? For the TikTok column on the right?
Here, yes.
Yeah,
because
so
there's text there. So if there's text, it's just going to get me to the bottom of that text. The problem when we've been dealing with, like if we're in a new column, like over here, it's an excellent question. When we're in a new column over here, there is no text here. So Control is, or Command's always looking for that next piece of text.
oh, that's right. That's
yeah.
right.
So if I hit Control or Command Shift here, I'm going to select all the way down to 1,000,000+ rows,
Right.
which actually isn't that big of a deal. If that happens, it will always happen at some point to you. You'll just, if you're moving, especially if you're moving quickly, you just hit back up. I'm right where I was. No harm, no foul. So it's not, you know, it's going to jump all the way down there. Obviously, you don't want to paste something down there, or maybe you do for some reason, but most likely you don't want to paste something down there. So you just hit Control or Command back in the way you came. But that's a great question. Here, ooh, see, I just did it because there was nothing in that row.
I had a question.
Yeah.
When you paste the TikTok followers to column O, and now we have that green box in the corner.
Mhm.
What exactly does that mean?
Yes, excellent segue. I love it. That means that Excel is sensing that we have an inconsistent formula, which we do. Well, not inconsistent, but it is highlighting that the formula in our column Q, which is our total followers, is not selecting the cell next to it now, which has a number. So it's flagging to you. It depends on how you have your formula error set up as well, but it's flagging to you that you haven't selected the cell closest to it. It seems inconsistent to it. So it's trying to alert you that you might want to change your formula, which we do. So we're going to change it and that green flag is going to go away.
Okay. Does it only flag always means inconsistent? Is there any other like error message it would give you?
Yes, this one, it omits adjacent cells. There are all different reasons the green arrow will pop up, and you can control those by going to File, Options, and going into your errors, and like specifically choosing error checking rules down here. So I have it checked that formulas which omit cells in a region will give me that green arrow. If I do something all the time and I don't want that to show and it's annoying me, I can uncheck that and then it will no longer give me that green arrow. But these, so if you, that was in options, and you have to go to formulas, and you can specifically choose which errors you want to see.
Thank you.
Like I don't have formulas inconsistent with other formulas in the region selected because that I don't find that's helpful. I think that's usually that is just something that I want to be done. I don't want to see an error around it. Same with formulas referring to empty cells. If you have formulas that like where you're building a dashboard and you might be having data update in there, you don't want that selected either. So those are totally edited. You can edit them. Your Excel will come with most of them checked as the default. But if you want to turn them off, you can. But when you click on that, it will show you what the option is there. Great question. All right, so if we're in Q23, we're just gonna, so we can hit F2, we can see that we are no longer, or we're not referring to our new TikTok followers that we added in there. So we can either, I'm just going to delete the entire range for simplicity. Once we do that, if we're inspecting and editing a formula and we're in kind of our edit mode, I'm going to do it in Sheets in Excel because it's different in each. If I'm in Excel, once I've kind of deleted whatever I need to do or do whatever I need to do typing wise, and I want to select cells now. If I just hit left arrow, like I want to be selecting P23, I'm still in my formula. I'm still inside that cell. I have to hit F2 again to get out of it, and then I can select my cells. So F2 will get you, and I would select M23 through P23. F2, and the other alternative, I could have just added, like if I do a plus sign there, and then I need to add P23, P24 in this case, because I have the 24th row. I also then have to hit F2 again after I type in that plus sign. So I have to hit F2 to get into my formula, hit F2 to get into formula editing or get into cell reference mode. If I'm in Sheets, that is actually not the case. So Sheets tries to be smart here with formula editing. If I copy that over, I go in here and hit F2. If I delete that range, it is trying to know that I want to then reference a cell. I hit the left arrow. I didn't actually hit F2 again. So Sheets is a little bit, especially if you go back and forth between Sheets and Excel, or if you just use Sheets, it tries to be smart. So then if I hit F2 here, now I'm back in, I'm still in my cell, which I'm like, why? I thought I was getting out of it. So anytime you're in Sheets and it's like at a point where you should be selecting cells in that formula, it's going to automatically assume you want to select cells. And then I would be in cell selection mode. So it's just something to be aware of because it can kind of throw you off if you're used to hitting F2 twice in Excel. It's ultimately trying to be smart for you and not making you do that. Any other questions here? Great questions. Okay. Wonderful. So now we want to navigate to our followers by platform. So what we're trying to do is say I want Kylie Jenner's followers as a % of her total. I want to know, what does Facebook represent for her total number of followers? If I just copy and paste this formula without doing anything, I'm going to get all of these random numbers because I wanted to stay on this total row or this total column, sorry, total column here and not move. This is moving over to the side. We're not going to go in depth into the intricacies of locking. We cover that in our courses, but I just want to go over the mechanism to do that without using your mouse. So what locking means is I'm going to reference a cell, a specific cell, like I'm doing here, Q23. As I copy that formula, I want certain aspects of that cell reference not to change. In this case, I don't want the column to move off of column Q. That's my total, regardless of where I am, regardless of my channel or my celebrity. Column Q is always my total. So in order to lock a cell reference, that's where F4 comes in. It's your other F key. So if I'm in that 6.5%, I would hit F2, hit F4 on my Q23 cell, so where I am, and you would just keep hitting it until that $sign's in front of the Q. And F4 just cycles you through all of your locking options. Again, not going to go through in detail kind of the reasoning behind locking in the interest of of time, but do want to highlight that is how you would lock a cell without using your mouse, F4. So the most important things here, F2 and F4 in terms of navigating that formula without the mouse. Once I have that $ in front of the Q, I can then copy it all the way down and across. And some, I don't know, surprising to me that all of their followers are on Instagram, but. All right. Again, we're going to use Control, page down, Option right, Option down, or Alt down. Or you can just click on it if you're not quite there yet with navigating across the tabs, just giving you the option. Of course, we have our complete tab here. It goes through full instructions of how editing that text. All of the tables that we just filled out are filled out. And we're going to navigate to our Format tab. So you'll notice we spent most of the time today on our navigation. And there weren't that many keys that we had to know in order to be able to navigate around without that mouse. Where a lot of the different shortcuts come in is with formatting. So we're going to go through some of our top ones, make sure we highlight some of the master ways of knowing some of our formatting shortcuts, and we'll go through some specific examples. All right, so first we're going to go through Paste Special. So what Paste Special allows you to do is leverage existing formatting so that you don't have to reformat anything. Super helpful. So in this example, I want to add a total column that has the same formatting as the rest of the table. So if I just typed total here, and then we're just going to add in our sums of C19 through F19 and copy that down. And then I want to leverage the formatting that's in every other column so that my total column looks like that without having to do individual formatting edits. So select Shift, I'm going to do Shift down or Control Command Shift down, select that TikTok column. And you're going to copy it, Control or Command C. I'll do it in both sheets in Excel. Alt ES if I'm in PC Excel, Command Control V if I'm in the Mac. And then it's going to be T for formats, or you can use your arrow keys to navigate around here. Or if I'm in PC, I can hit T. Whatever these underlined things are is telling you what the shortcut is on your keyboard. So I can hit formats. So I'd copy, I need to navigate over into my total row before I do that. Alt ES or Command Control V, T for formats, or use your arrow keys to select formats. And then I have all of my formatting copied over. I can be very specific about what I am pasting. If I'm in Sheets, now I'm going to do the same thing. I can do the same thing here. Select TikTok over. Fun fact is Alt ES still works actually in Sheets randomly. They kind of, even though it doesn't say that's a shortcut, it does still work. The other way of doing it, and the more universal way, I'm going to undo that for a second. Copy that. If I'm in Sheets, Alt, if I'm on the PC, Alt / it's up here, Alt / or Option / if I'm on the Mac. It's going to bring up my search menu. This is your best friend when it comes to doing anything in Sheets, formatting related or formula related. I can type anything in here. So I'm going to type paste format and it's going to bring up that option. I can hit enter. As a quick aside for Sheets, Alt or Option / I could type top border. Done. I don't need to use my keyboard or my mouse. I could type fill yellow. 8 different options. I can use my arrow keys to navigate around. Font, different size fonts, increase decimals. Whatever you want to do, you can do from the help menu because Google made search and they embedded that functionality within all of their Google Drive apps. So Paste special, super helpful in terms of pasting specific formatting, or if we go down to the bottom here, if I want to copy, I'm going to copy this entire table to the right and just paste it, Control V. It's linked, so now I'm going to get these weird values here. So what I'm going to do instead is copy this over to the right. If I'm in Sheets, paste values only. Then I can paste my formatting and I can paste column width. And that's going to actually widen those columns to be the exact same as my base table. I don't need to replicate or manually do anything. And I can do the same thing here in Excel. I would want to Alt ES or Command Control paste values. Alt ES paste format T. And then Alt ES, I can paste column width, which is W. Again, it's going to replicate that exact same formatting. So that's paste special and our search in Excel and Sheets. The other, just in the interest of time, the other super important thing in Excel is Command or Control 1. That's going to bring up your master formatting box. This is everything you need to do to format within a cell. Command or Control 1. You'll notice all the underlines here if you're on the PC. That is telling you with Alt C how to use that shortcut. If I want to get across the tabs here, the same way I would get across the tabs in my worksheet, Control page up, page down, Option left or right. Once I'm in a section, so if I'm on the PC, I can hit that Alt F to get in my font section. I can also just hit Tab. Tab's going to get me across all my sections. So that's Control or Command 1 for your master formatting box. The other important option just on our PC is our Alt button in the last minute. This is going to bring up all of your ribbon shortcuts on the PC Excel version only. What this is doing is just basically a cheat sheet of probably every formatting shortcut I need to know. So Alt H will bring me into my home menu. Then I can see all of those shortcuts. So AC to center a line or align center. Alt HB for border. And then it's going to bring up all of my border selections, and etc. So that's your Alt button. It's called your ribbon shortcuts in the PC Excel. So for formatting, Control or Command 1, Alt if you're in PC Excel specifically, or Alt or Option / if you're in Sheets. Those are your master kind of formatting shortcuts that will cover most of what you need to do along with Paste Special. So we are at time, super quick hour. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember that navigating within your worksheet, Control, Command, Shift, copying and pasting are going to be your best friends to start you on ditching the mouse journey. But I promise you, if you practice, it just takes practice and repetition to really be able to feel comfortable putting that mouse down, and it will get you in and out of your spreadsheet faster. Thank you guys very much. I'll hang out if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, do those mazes in a couple weeks and see if you can beat your time. Thank you guys.